ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। ॐ शुक्लांबरधरं विष्णुं शशिवर्णं चतुर्भुजं प्रसन्नवदनं ध्यायेत् सर्वविघ्नोपशान्तये। सरस्वती नमस्तुभ्यं वरदे कामरूपिणी विद्यारम्भं करिष्यामि सिद्धिर्भवतु मे सदा। सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादशङ्करं लोकशङ्करम्। शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। सच्चिदानन्दरूपाय विश्वोत्पत्त्यादिहेतवे तापत्रय विनाशाय श्रीकृष्णाय वयं नुमः। यं ब्रह्मा वरुणेन्द्ररुद्रमरुतः स्तुन्वन्ति दिव्यैस्तवैः वेदैः साङ्गपदक्रमोपनिषदैः गायन्ति यं सामगाः। ध्यानावस्थिततद्गतेन मनसा पश्यन्ति यं योगिनः यस्यान्तं न विदुःसुरासुरगणाः देवाय तस्मै नमः। गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुः साक्षात् परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। श्री चिन्मय यति सस्य गुरुं वन्दे तपोवनं तं हिमवत् विभूतिं वै ज्ञानवैराग्यरूपिणं समस्तजनकल्याण समस्तजनकल्याणे निरतं करुणामयं नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरम्। Today our subject matter is Uparama or Uparati. Now from where that word has come. It has come from the verbal root or dhatu ram. Ram means to take delight in something. Ram means to take delight from something. From that word Rama Shabd has come, who delights our heart, who revels in our heart. He is Rama. So the thing is, an upa is an upasarga or prefix. Upa has many meaning, or it is used in many cases. But here, upa means to withdraw from reveling. Withdraw from reveling is upa over here. Okay, so the sense withdrawal of the mind and senses from the respective object. Like upa, you will find like hri dhatu. Hri means haran karna, to take away something else. But when you put upa as a prefix before hri, it becomes upahar, means giving some gift or gifts only. So prefix has many meaning in Sanskrit. Like hri dhatu is haran karna, to take away. But if we put the prefix a, it becomes ahar, means bhojan, food. If we put the prefix vi, it becomes vihar. Vihar means Brahman karna, to roam around. If we put the prefix pra, it becomes prahara, beating. So likewise, the upasarga has many meanings, prefix has many meanings. Here, ram is the basic verbal root and upa is the prefix over there. So uparam. Uparam means controlling of the activity. Actually, this is the resultant of our previous two qualities we discussed among the 6 qualities. That was shama, controlling of the mind, and dhamma is controlling of the senses. So the thing is, this is that uparama, that withdrawal, is the resultant of controlling of the mind and controlling of the senses. And then swadharma anushtanam is there. So first we will find the sloka. The sloka is saying uparamaha kaha, uparamah kaha, swadharma anushtanam eva, swadharma anushtanam eva. So I will first go to the literal meaning of Uparama. So student is asking that, oh teacher, you told about Uparama while you discussing about 6 inner qualities or inner will. Samadhi, Shatka Sampatti. So there, Uparama is one of the qualities of 6 amongst the 6 qualities. So that what is that Uparama? Uparamaha kaha? It is Uparam. Rama is Akaranta Punglinga Shabda, masculine gender. So Uparamaha, like Ramaha, Ramo, Ramaha, like. Then the guru or teacher is replying, oh my son, it is Swadharma Anushtanam Eva, observance or performance of one's own dharma or duty. I will come. What is the meaning of that? And Eva is alone. Now, Swadharma Anushtana. Like in Sanskrit, there is a verse, Chhatranam Adhyayanam Tapaha. For a student, what is his main practice, main austerity, main spiritual practice? That is doing his or her own study. Chhatranam Adhyayanam Tapaha. That studying or adhyanam will get the first priority. If I am in a particular stage of life, I have to perform accordingly. I have to perform according to that life and following all the instructions from whom? Who knows how to work? That is discussed over here. And eva, swadharma, anushtanam, eva. Eva here used to emphasize swadharma, to emphasize sadharma. Now, anushtanam, it's a wonderful thing. It has come from the verbal root stha. Stha means to stay. Stha means to stay. From that stha dhatu, sthapatya has come. Here, anushtanam, how it came? Here, anu prefix has been used. Like anushtanam, anu means continuously. So continuously staying in one's own dharma or duty is swadharma anushtanam. Clear? It is one of the most important 6-fold virtues or qualities, inner virtues, inner qualities. Is it clear to you? Stha means to stay, it's a verbal root. Anu is a prefix, it means continuously. So anushtanam or swadharma, swa means one's own. Dharma is a big word. I will not go into that. But dharma here means duty, one's own duty according to the stage of life. And anushtanam is constantly staying in performing one's own dharma or duty according to the lifespan or according to the life stage is swadharma anushtanam. This identity you have to strengthen. I often tell in our morning class also that first we have to fix our identity. Identity crisis or identity demand is a very big thing in our society. You know, the thing is, the identity in our worldly life comes from our ego. That I am the mother, I am the wife of so and so, I am the daughter of so and so, I am the secretary of this organization, I am the president of that organization. All those identity gives us some power, position, some space in the society. But if we think deeply, it creates a lot of trouble in our peaceful life. So first, we have to correct our own identification within. What people thinks that I am a Swami or Brahmachari or resident Acharya or what one, it is people's concern. I should not be bothered about that. That who has called me as Swamiji, who has called me as Brahmachari, who has called me as Divakar, who has added G over there. It is their concern. What should be my concern? I should have to be concerned about my identity, though it is my secondary identity, but in the preliminary state, in the beginning stage, that secondary identity, because my first identity is I am Brahman, that is all. But there should be for secondary identification for the transactional world. There I have to be clear within that who am I? I suggest my students that fix your identity in that at least 1 hour in this class period. Then you try to practice it and increase it. Try to increase in a whole day that I am a student. I am a seeker of liberation. I have no other identity. And you just do that. The maximum of our problem will be solved. Because then all the qualities will come to you. Or we should try to incorporate the qualities of the students which is written in the scripture or which is told by our acharyas or gurus. That how a student will be. What will be a student's attitude, a student's duty. So first, in the beginning of our spiritual practice, we have to strengthen our identity. So, I have no other identity. You have to fix that idea in your mind. So as a student, I have to do what is required. And what is the result of that? Whatever I am not supposed to do as a seeker of liberation, that will go automatically. It's a magic like. And that Uparama is actually sannyasa. Uparama is nothing but sannyasa, inner sannyasa. You may wear any clothes, any color sari, kurtis, and everything else. Because the concept of sannyasa, concept of renunciation doesn't depend upon the dress. Swami Vivekananda's pranam mantra, it is there, Namasri Yatirajaya. He is the king amongst the all monks. But if we find Swami Vivekananda's pictures in the West, we will find him in trousers and shirt, in blazer, in coat, in hat. And you will be amazed to hear when second time Swami Vivekananda returned from West America and he was coming to Belur Math wearing this hat, coat and trousers and tie and suited and booted, you can tell. The security guard of Belur Math didn't allow him to enter into Belur Math, who established Belur Math. How interesting it is. Then what he did, he jumped over the wall and entered into Belur Math because it was almost 1 o'clock and sadhus were having their lunch prasadam and they suddenly saw a British is coming wearing some English clothes and they started calling the security guard that how did you allow this person while we are taking prasadam when mat is closed, ashram is closed. Then when they observed that Swami Vivekananda is coming in this dress, so as he has worn that suit and pants and trousers and coat, is he not a Swami? Sannyas or the vows of renunciation is an inner faculty. In this short span of life, I have visited, I feel blessed to meet a lot of householders who are nothing but sannyasis. Their life they live should be followed, should be imitated. Really, I have watched. So Uparama is an inner faculty. That is why it is one of the inner qualities, inner wealth amongst these 6 qualities. And Uparama means sannyasa, actually. And this Uparama gives a lot of strength and lot of time to accomplish our goal, to accomplish our goal. Because if we don't withdraw our mind and senses from the object, that object will occupy our brain, our mind, our everything else. Just think your daily routine. People oftenly say, Swamiji, you don't know, we are householders, so much work, so much things. Who has created? If we keenly observe that we really have sukham buddhi, that sense of happiness we are having, that the outside object will give me happiness and bliss, and we start possessing those objects and persons, then they start possessing me, and we don't get time. Uparama will help you to get time in your spiritual life. So, it is the state of the mind and senses that has withdrawn from reveling in the world of object. When control of the mind is automatically achieved, in Shama means controlling of the mind, and in Dhamma in controlling of the senses. The mind and senses may be amongst objects. There may be a lot of chances. But they are restrained with a lot of alertness, a lot of consciousness. But in Uparama, this withdrawal faculty, they automatically withdraw from the objects. The example given in Gita is of that tortoise which sees any danger condition, any suspicious condition. The tortoise withdraws its head and all limbs into the shell. It's automatic, it's effortless. Like, in Sanskrit it is called Prativarta Kriya. Suppose anything comes in front of our eyes, it automatically drops and we start blinking. It's effortless. Likewise, Uparama is effortless withdrawing. In Shama, we have to be alert to control our mind. In Dhamma, we have to be alert to control our senses. But when we will be fixed in Shama and Dhamma, when we will be well versed in Shama and Dhamma, the Uparama will be natural. Uparati will be natural, will be effortless. Which is natural, that is effortless. And Bhagavan Shankaracharya ji defines this Uparati or Uparama as the strict performance or observance of one's own duties. Duties come to all of us according to our age, according to our position and place in life. Many of us revolt against its performance. We have to know when we are a student what we have to do. When we are a son, what we have to do. When we are fathers, what we have to do. When we are moms, what we have to do. The same person, father, beloved father of a daughter or a son, that the same person never hesitate to punish someone else when he is in the seat of a judge, performing one's own duty according to age, according to social position. So the thing is, but we we revolt, many of us, not all, against its performance, or do so out of habit or source or force of mind, because we are run by our past habits, our वासना वासना के द्वारा हम लोग प्ररोचित है, हम लोगों का वासना हम लोगों को दौड़ाते हैं. They makes us running. Our past impression, our mental force of desire makes us running after the object. A student dislikes studies and goes to school as though to oblige his parents. But when one's own duty will be performed with full of enthusiasm, love, dedication, devotion, it becomes worship. It becomes puja. That is why Guru Seva, serving our own teacher, plays a very big role in our spiritual practice. In olden days or in nowadays also, in various institutions there is a rule, name allotment is there. Thus this student will do this, these students will do that. When we were in the Sandipani, we had duty. And our Acharya used to say that Acharya is the embodiment of the whole ashram. So if you serve the ashram, it means you are serving your Acharya. We had duties, bringing the books from his room, lighting the lamp where he will take the classes, washing his clothes, cutting vegetables and fruits for him, serving him in breakfast, lunch, dinner. And that has to be done only with full of enthusiasm, full of love. There is no compulsion. Our Acharya used to ask us, if you don't like, you can tell. But why you don't like, you have to mention. I will change your duty. And most of the cases we have found that we have a mindset that we will do that, we love to do that, and always we love to do what we love, which is conducive for my mind's pressure. And Acharya breaks the ice. Because he knows what is better for us. Because we only run after what our mind, the wretched portion of our mind, forces us to do. We forget what is good for us. We only run after what is pleasurous for us. That is why the conflict, the ego conflict comes. When our Acharya scolds us, why we don't like? Because we have a measuring rod that my Acharya will tell me always the flowering language to me. He will support my ego. Whatever I want to do, he will support me. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. If you read Panchadashi, no need to read Panchadashi. Please read the invocation sloka of Panchadashi. There Vidyaranya Swami has indicated what is Acharya's job. Acharya is like a crocodile who always swallows our evil thoughts, evil actions, evil tendencies. Graha grashaika karmane. First line is writing Guru Padambu Janmane. And second line, the last portion, he is writing Graha grashaika karmane. His only job is to swallow our evil thoughts. I don't know whether you have seen or not. I have seen many acharyas. And many of you are blessed to meet Gurudev, and you know how Gurudev used to, because I have heard and I have watched in video. It's like, no, why? Go. Like that. You know, if a right students come in a right direction, right mental format, and if a student is very much clear that why I have come to a guru, what is my purpose, what is my relationship with my guru, what is the role of my guru in my life, then all the conflicts will go. In Kathopanishad, we get the same type of mantra. So, the thing is, so we have to perform with enthusiasm and love and dedication. Not only does the performance bring joy, but the mind also becomes steady, single-pointed, free of likes and dislikes, peaceful and withdrawn. If we really practice Acharya Seva, serving to the Acharya, Shastra says, not myself. I don't need anything else. You know better who has come into contact with me in regular classes, physical classes. The highest form of Uparama is when one remains in one's ultimate and true nature. That is Swadharma, which is existence, Sat, consciousness, Chit, and bliss, Anandam. Outer withdrawal and performance of one's own duty are necessary to reach that state. In Vedanta Sara, Sri Sadananda Yogindra Saraswati has given the Uparamas or Uparatis definition that Nivartitanam etesham tat vyatirikta vishayebhyaha uparamanam uparatihi. Nivartitanam etesham tat vyatirikta vishayebhyaha uparamanam uparatihi अथवा विहितानां कर्मणां विधिना परित्यागः अथवा विहितानां कर्मणां विधिना परित्यागः. I will translate it in English. Don't worry. The thing is, we have to constantly strive as our mind and senses doesn't go anywhere else apart from Brahman. That मेरा मन और इंद्रिय ब्रह्म विषय को छोड़कर फिर से विषयमुखी ना हो जाए, इसके लिए जो प्रचेष्टा है इसको उपरति कहते हैं. और अनदर थिंग, विहित कर्मफल को विधि पूर्वक त्याग करना को उपरति बोलते हैं अकॉर्डिंग टू वेदांत सार. That I am living, renouncing all my Vedic duties and renouncing in a Vedic way through a fire sacrifice, fire rituals. That is also uparati. So Shama, Dama and uparati are at the same plane. But there are some difference. So what is the difference between uparati and sama? What is the difference between uparati and sama? That is why the last portion of the definition, if we take that vidhi purva, through a proper rituals stated by Veda, I have to offer my all karmas and karma phalas and daily obligatory, all the duties in the fire. And I will take a vow that I will not go over the kamya karma, the desire prompted action. But बाहर में अग्नि साक्षी करके त्याग करके प्रतिज्ञा लेने से मन की विषय वासना नहीं जाती. Externally, if we perform the fire rituals and renounce all my duties, and taking external sannyas doesn't mean that all my inner vasanas, inner mental desire has gone. Then what is the difference between uparati and shama? Shama is mana nigraha, controlling or mastery over the mind. But jnana margi ki sadhak should perform shama and dama. The external senses are like instruments. The actual indriya are in our nervous system, snayu kendra. Between the external sense organ and internal nervous system, who creates the bridge? The mind creates the bridge. And that is why we can see, we can touch, we can feel. Shama is controlling the nervous system within. And uparati is not thinking about the respective objects of the respective sense organs. Clear? It's very interesting point and new point. You will never get in any book. So Shama is controlling, restraining, sublimating, mastery over our own nervous system. स्नायु केंद्र को नियमित करना ही इंद्रिय का जो स्नायु केंद्र है उसको कंट्रोल करना ही शम है. Then what is uparati or uparama? Uparama is not thinking. इंद्रिय का जो विषय है उसके संबंध में चिंता नहीं करना ही उपरति है. उपरति की अभाव में जिसके पास उपरति नहीं है वो इंद्रिय भोग्य विषय में चिंतित रहते हैं. एंड इंद्रिय यंत्र कर्म प्रेरणा लाभ करते हैं. That is why Shastra or scripture has stressed over uparati. Now the thing is, in Vivek Chudamani, Bhagavan Shankaracharya ji has given uparati's definition that बाह्य अनालंबनम वृत्तेः एषः उपरतिः उत्तमा. He has classified uparati in Viveka Chudamani. Bhagavan Shankaracharya ji has classified the uparati standard. What is better uparati? The best quality uparati is when you never come into contact of the external vastu. Bahya and worldly parthiva vastu में इंद्रिय रिपु शत्रुओं को संलग्न नहीं करना ही उत्तम उपरति है, according to Bhagavan Shankaracharya in his book Viveka Chudamani. And another thing I just want to mention, that what should we do? Now this is a question. What should we do with the sense and mind which are controlled? That is why our Vedantic acharyas never inspire us for meditation before learning, before Sravanam. Never entertain us. Not a single acharya or not a single Vedantic text you will find that acharyas are inspiring us that do meditation like nowadays. You will find millions of organizations like Mushroom and all are meditation organization, crash course on meditation. Our Vedantic meditation is completely different. Because meditation is controlling of the mind, but what you will do with that controlling of the mind? If we consider our Puranam, Ravana, Hiranyakashipu, they were big meditators. They meditated thousands of years with observing great austerity in one leg, without eating, sleeping, anything else, standing. And then they fully concentrated. And what happened? Ravana became more bigger Ravana, more notorious Ravana. Hiranyakashipu becomes more notorious Hiranyakashipu. We turn them inwards. We should have to turn them inwards and put it into the Vedantic teachings. This is the advice given to us. The senses and the mind, if not given a higher turn, will revert back to the world. They must be turned inwards. When we do this repeatedly and bring the mind onto the self, I can quote from Imitation of Christ prayers. Above all things and in all things, my soul rests always in the Lord. उपरति के सिवा इस पथ में गति नहीं है. If you don't do uparati, if you don't withdraw your mind and senses, there is no chance to do anything else, any progression. Any progression will be like mirage water. Om swasti prajabhyah paripalayantam nyayena margena mahe mahishaha. O brahmanebhyah shubhamastu nityam lokas samastas sukhino bhavantu. Kale varshatu parjanyah prithvi sasya shalini desho yam kshovarahitah brahmana santu nirbhayaha. Om sarvesham swastir bhavatu sarvesham purnam bhavatu sarvesham mangalam bhavatu sarvesham sarvam bhavatu. Om sarve bhavantu sukhinah sarve santu niramayaha sarve bhadrani pashyantu ma kaschid dukkha bhaga bhavet asato ma satgamaya tamaso ma jyotirgamaya mrityorma mritam gamaya avirmayedhi. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om. There is an announcement that all of our scriptures are in Sanskrit, and we oftenly feel a lot of trouble in chanting Sanskrit, because when it is in the prose order or in a poet or poem order, it is written in some way. When we split it, it will be something different. And Veda says if we don't chant the Sanskrit mantra properly, there is no result. So we have to learn the basics of Sanskrit. It is very, very important to go through the basics of Sanskrit. And it will come very easily if we can speak in Sanskrit. It's very easy, very easy. Sanskrit Bharati does 3 days course, and really people can speak in Sanskrit in 3 days. So if we can learn in this way, our Shastra will go through correctly. You know Gurudev's famous quote? Someone told Gurudev, I have gone through 10 Upanishads. Then and there Gurudev asked him, have 10 Upanishads gone through you? So that is the main thing over here. So we have planned to start to conduct a crash course on Sanskrit for 1 month. Spoken Sanskrit and basic Sanskrit. So from next Monday, thrice in a week, we will do it. Our lockdown has been started again from today. So everyone will be locked in our room, can't move anywhere. Strict lockdown, government has told. So how we can utilize this time, how we can feel as the blessings of God this lockdown period. So we have to utilize in a positive way. So we have thought in that way that if we learn it thrice in a week, Monday, Wednesday and Thursday, and 11 o'clock is the better time for maximum people. It is not possible to satisfy everyone else at the same point of time. But then we have to think for the maximum. And we have seen that this is the time, better time. And we are going to start it in next coming Monday. Hari Om to everyone else. We will meet again tomorrow.